How we doing, everyone? Just waiting for a few people to join on. Hope everyone's had a good day, a decent win. Hope everyone's made some money today. Good. A few of you coming on. So, right, guys, I thought I'd just do a live. I did one the other night, just did a bit of a Q&A. And people ask me questions all the time and it gets a bit, like the inbox is a bit mad. So I thought, well, I'll just do a live on a bit of training, a bit of what I know about. I've had a lot of new followers lately as well. So people that don't know about me, I've been in construction 20 years. Scaled my own business and then scaled a business I was part of to like 10 million a year. So for me to talk about building like £1 million a year is way in my knowledge zone and what I've done, so it's something that's like no bullshit, and it's exactly what really the whole reason I do stuff like this in the podcast is it's information that I needed when I was younger. I wish I had someone pointing that information and help and genuine stuff of what you need to do to get you to where you want to get to when I was like early 20s and that, so you can get ahead and really get ahead in business. Because I certainly, it was just people down the pub, bricklayers and just decorators who thought they knew the fucking world, but didn't have a clue. So, it's good now. Social media, you've got the opportunity to learn from people and get ahead. So just wait for people to come in. All right, Jimbo from Barbados. Well done, son. Good man. Good to have a few of you on. So basically, look, £1 million business, right? In construction, and I thought about how I'm going to start this off, but £1 million not actually that much. And I know that sounds like, I could sound like a bit of a dick if you don't know me, but what I mean is in the grand scheme of things, of the industry, it's a multi-billion pound industry, right? But equally, I know when you're smaller, maybe you're just getting started or you're doing a few £100,000 a year, £1 million seems like it's fucking way off. But if I can do one thing on this and one thing alone, is just expand your mind and think about, well, it's not actually that much. £1 million revenue in construction is not a lot. In other businesses, other industries, can be quite a lot, but you can grab a lot of revenue in construction. You can win 50 grand jobs, you can win 100 grand jobs, and you can be easily racking up the revenue and also the profits as well. So whilst £1 million a year might sound a bit scary to you, or, a bit unknown as well, especially if you're the sort of person that comes from a family where no one's really got a business or no one's done that, £1 million revenue, it's not a big deal. But there is a lot to it to get right, to get ahead and really build the business you want. But obviously the main thing as well is that it's all about profitability. Turnover is one thing, but it's all about the bottom line, the net profit at the end of the day. It's quite easy to go and grab turnover, especially if you're pricing shit and you're pricing really cheap with no money on it, no profit on it. It's quite easy to go and win work because you just be the cheapest, win it. But do that and you'll have an untold amount of stress, ball ache, ag, because it's a hard industry to be in. Construction's a difficult industry to be in. Anyone who's not worked in it will not fucking understand it, don't get it. It's really, really difficult. It relies on, one, delivering a great product, but two, it's a ball ache running lads. It's a ball ache with customers. Stuff's always changing. You've got a lot of hoops to jump through. It is difficult, but if you get your business right and you set it up properly with your numbers in place first, and you're actually making money from it, it becomes a lot more enjoyable and a lot easier to build because you've got some profits racking up. So for me, really £1 million, I think it should be everyone's sort of goal, really. If you've got a construction-based business, you want to be aiming for £1 million as like step one, day one. Small goals, it's just pointless. If you're in business, you can earn really good money just being on site these days or working for someone else. You can earn like £250 a day, do overtime and earn an 80 grand a year salary. But if you're doing £1 million and you're making like 10% gross margin and there's hardly anything after you've got expenses, it's not worth the ball ache and the stress and all the shit that goes with it, of all the ag of seeing customers late at night, doing invoicing late at night. You'd be better off going to get a job, which, I'll be honest with you, I say this to a lot of people. I say to a lot of people, go and get a job because it's not for you. If you're not cut out for it, it's not for you. And sometimes people need that honesty. But my point is, you've got to decide where you want to be, because if you want to be a business owner and you want to own a really decent, profitable business that maybe one day is going to allow you to buy properties, allow you to invest money in other stuff, maybe get a nice house, you've got to be aiming a bit higher and setting the benchmark as 1 million as like your first marker of where you want to be, okay? So with that being said, the easiest thing to do is start looking at some numbers. So I'm going to flip round. You guys can see this. So when you look at £1 million, right, you think, okay, so it's a lot in one hit. You know, you're not going to get one job from that. But the thing you want to do with stuff is always just break it down and really know your numbers. Good business owners know their numbers like the back of their hand. They know it better than the project because they know the numbers going through. And if you divide it by 12, it's 83k a month of work. You've got to be winning to deliver that £1 million. Or for easy argument's sake, it's 20k a week. That's your rough numbers. And let me flip that around. That might sound scary, but to do that, you're going to have to be quoting probably 3 times that. Like that's actually what the business is actually the quoting, it's the estimating stage. So if you want to do £1 million, you've probably got to be pricing about £3 million a year to win $1 million. Like that's like industry average conversion rates. You know, 1 out of 3 quotes you're going to win. Sometimes you have a touch, you win more than others. Other times, you know, you might price 3 jobs, not winning one of them. You know, there are patches, there are troughs, but if you took a whole year throughout every single price you do, around about 30% conversion rate is about right. So then you've got your head screwed on to pricing £3 million a year, which is obviously quite a lot. You know, it's a lot to price and do. There's a lot of time into that. There's a lot of cost into doing that. So if you're looking at it on a monthly basis, to win 80, you know, you've got to be pricing, what's that, 160, 240 a month of work you've got to be pricing. Which, again, comes with time. So if you know you've got to be pricing, let's say, £250,000 a year work to win 80 grand of it, which is going to build you to be £1 million business, you've got to think about, right, how are you going to price 250 of work? Because there is time to that and there is a skill set to that as well. So you've really got to know your pricing. Depending on what you do, you might have a QS doing pricing for you, but you still got to understand the numbers as well. Because the trap that gets people stuck is, one, getting off the tools. If you're doing a couple £100,000 or you just, you know, a bit below that, it's probably heavily reliant on you as a business. So you've got to, step 1 is winning enough work to get you off the fucking tools, because it's hard to do it all. Like anyone who tries to do it all, and I know a few people on here that do it as well, when it's really difficult. You need at least 1 day in the office just to be pricing stuff, to be going through the invoices, tracking costs on jobs. You've got to get off the tools as such, and the quicker you can get off them, the quicker you're then building the business, and you've then got all the time. You've bought all your time back to be pricing more work and running the jobs really well, and basically being more of an accountant around your business. And this is what people don't really realise, and maybe this will open your eyes up a bit, is that most people get into construction as an industry because you like doing stuff with your hands, but as you grow the business, you've got to become more of a numbers person and more of a being organised person around all your finances, really. And it is a transition, but it's one you just have to go through and get used to, and it's just a learning curve to go through, you know. And this stuff is not taught, and that's why I do a lot of it on it, because you don't need to be told how to do your jobs and how to run the sites and fucking how to deliver a really good job, but it's this business bit, and the biggest bottleneck is going to be you stuck on the tools still. So you've got to be earning enough work and get enough money and invest the money back into the business so that it can afford to pay for you, and then you're actually building the business and running it. But if you think about it, if you had to invoice like 20 grand a week, that'll put things in perspective to you of, you're going to know roughly what you invoice a week now for you as a business. So it's 20 grand a week, or it's 83 grand for the month. You need to be looking at what you're invoicing every single month and going, right, where are you and what's the gap and what's got to give to be doing that, because it's a really short-lived life of grafting all day, then trying to juggle and do quotes. And maybe some of you end up doing quotes and it takes you 2 or 3 weeks. You're not getting back to the customers on time. You're not quite delivering a good enough service. Then it eats into your weekends, your family life shit. You know, if you've got kids, you're not seeing them. It's it just becomes too much. And this is what tends to blow in this industry, is that you end up fucking hating it because you're just doing so much and you're just juggling a lot of stuff. And it's, do you know, the one thing that creases me up is that every single person in trades or construction, they say, if a plumber starts fitting light fittings or laying carpet, it's like, oh, you're a jack of all trades, master of none. But this is exactly what people do with their business. You're actually being a jack of all trades by being an estimator, an accountant, a salesman, a marketer, a project manager, a labourer still, a tradesman. Do you know what I mean? You've got all these hats to wear, and it's just going to be your biggest bottleneck. So what you guys have really got to focus on to get to a point of doing £1 million is actually stacking money up in your business and pricing work correctly so that you're actually making money. And this is going to be the biggest thing, because I'll flip this round and show you guys again. When you're looking at money, you know, right, if you're doing £1 million, believe it or not, I know some companies working at a 5% margin. So that means there's 50k of profit there. 50k. Whereas a decent business, 25, but go 25, it's 250k of profit. And that's not by doing any more work. You're still doing £1 million turnover, but just based on what margin you've got priced within that work you're doing, massive difference, 50k to 50k. This business is going to allow you to pay for staff and then get you off the tools so you buy your time back. This business, you're fucked. You can't do anything. You know, it's barely good enough as being a salary. And this is the problem. A lot of businesses are stuck here, that you wonder why there's no profit, because by the time you take your drawings out of it, you are just bollocksed. So you want to be aiming to be more this business. And how you're going to do that is having the right profit margins on the jobs. So that is the biggest thing, of actually getting your pricing right from the off. Because if you're not making money on jobs, it's pointless being in business. It just is. It's just not fucking worth it. And I think from speaking to a lot of you guys, there is a bit of a fear of charging the right prices, putting enough money on the jobs. And then there is a fear of actually knowing your numbers and being in control of everything. Because what you really need to know, especially as you get bigger as $1 million, you know, you've got to be on top of all your finances. You've got to know, like I said at the start, like the back of your hand. You really need to know every single penny on every job. You need to know your conversion rates for all your quotes. You need to track costs on all the jobs. And so I know some of you be listening to this are on there. Sometimes you just need that reminder as well. You cannot not track costs on jobs. You need to know if you've won a 20 grand job and there's 4 grand profit in there, you need to know that all the way through the job, and then actually review the job at the end and go, yes, there was 4 grand. We still made 4 grand. Or actually, no, it went slightly wrong. You know, we made 3, or you made 5, because it's going to keep you on the point with your pricing all the time. So you've really got to wear the hat, literally, excuse the pun, of a commercial person and a businessman. And all you need is a calculator. You don't need to be smart. But these are the numbers that they should teach us at school. You know, I don't know about you, but when I was at school, it's like you're learning stuff about algebra and stuff and all these wanky equations they're not practical for real life. But all you actually need to know is, right, how much revenue are you doing? How many quotes are you doing? What's your conversion rates on those quotes? What's your gross profit margins and what's your net profit margins? They're the figures that you really need to know. And you just read that and understand that, but it's just not taught. And it's crazy, really, because I remember business lessons at school and no one touched on this stuff. No one touched on it at all. So £1 million, then what you want to start be working at is going, right, okay, well, let's just, so we're going back a step. You know, it's 80 grand a month to deliver. What you need to be working at for you, because obviously we've got all different trades on here, is how many jobs is that? Like, regardless of where you're at now, how many jobs actually is that in terms of revenue? If you know you've got to do 80 grand a month, is your average job size 5 grand? Is it 2 grand? Is it 10 grand? Is it 50 grand? What does that number actually look like for you? And do this as I'm talking you through this stuff. So actually sit there and work this out and go, how many jobs is it? Do you need to win 4 jobs a month, 10 jobs a month, 20 jobs a month? What is it? Because that number just doesn't lie. And this is the biggest thing with numbers, is that they don't lie. They just don't lie. They're facts, they're figures. Whereas what I've always found with people is that emotions lie, fears lie, bullshit gets in the way of reality. But you need to know, right, how many jobs do you actually need to win a month based on the revenue that you need to do? You know, you need to do 80 grand a month if you want to hit a million, or 20 grand a week, whatever way you want to look at it. How many jobs do you actually need to do a month and deliver and get invoiced? Because that's what's going to allow you to start working back. So when you know that, you know how many jobs you've got to be pricing. If you know it's 30%, like I said, you've got to be pricing 3 times the amount of that. And that really is your constraint. And I think what happens to a lot of people is once you're busy, you sort of take your off the ball quoting, and you sort of turn customers away, and you're actually just stunting your own growth. You're stopping growing yourself because you're just dealing with what's in front of you, and you need to have the business mind to be able to go, no, fuck, I need to keep on quoting, I need to keep on pricing, because you're trying to hit a revenue target of, you know how much you need to price. And these are the figures that I would always look at in a business. Every single month, just focus purely on, right, I need to price, we need to price this much work, and what's the conversion rates, and we're tracking the win and success rate of that. So you've always got the eye on the ball every single week, every day almost. You know, at the peak of running the business of doing 10 million, we were pricing £3 million worth of work a month. That's a heavy commercial team. There's 3 estimators, 2 QSs. That's a fucking lot of work, and you've got a lot to keep your eye on the ball. And what I'm saying, this is what big businesses do, but this is what smaller businesses need to adopt as well. You need to learn from the bigger businesses and adopt that into a smaller business. And I think a lot of people get stuck in a fucking fugazi or whatever it is of, we need elaborate systems, we need this, we need that. You don't. You just need fucking top line, really solid figures. Right, how much have you priced this month? How much do you need to price to get you to where you want to be? And what's the win rate on that? And as long as there's a gross margin on the jobs, you know the jobs are going to make money as well, there's profit on them. It's all you actually need. And I'll level with you, to be honest, to run £1 million a year business, you can run it from your car. You don't need an office. You do not need an office to do that level of revenue. You know, you can just be pricing up all the time, tracking the jobs, tracking the costs, and just running a really nice, simple system. And it's just being a bit more switched on to the basics. And the thing is, it might sound a bit easy and basic, some of the stuff I'm going through with you, but what I found is common sense isn't that common. So that's why we're here having this conversation. But if you've genuinely got an interest in growing a business and being serious about it, start it on the best foundation. You know, start it on the best foundation. You know, everyone's from construction. We can all appreciate that the best extensions, the best houses are built on the best foundations. And those foundations of a business, regardless of being construction or not, is numbers. It's the finances, and it's the quoting, the estimating, the tendering, whatever label you want to put on it, which is sales really. You know, there is a sales process of getting the inquiry in and being a really nice person, being good with the customer, following that through the pricing stage, recommending stuff to clients. That's the person you need to be to run a really good business in this. You need to be a great communicator, on the button with your numbers. So equally, you know, with confidence, you're going, bang, that's the quote to the customer. If they query your prices, you know you've done it right. So you can't be fucked and bent over and have doubt that when they say it's expensive because they're trying it on or they want a deal, and you're not confident in your numbers and you buckle, that's when it all gets fucked up. So you've got to be really clear on your numbers. It's such an important thing. But it's not actually that scary, guys. You know, if you do a job that's 10 grand on average, you need 2 of them a week. 2 of them a week, 20 grand a week, that's your 80k a month. It's £1 million a year business. And I'm not being funny, you've got to speak to 2 people. It means you've probably got to quote 6 jobs a week. It's not really, you know, you're not asking for the world. And that's my point I want to get across to you guys. It's not as big or as scary as you think, but you just need to be so organised and on the button with just like bang, bang, bang numbers, pricing, done, out. Know all your figures, you know all your costs, and it's all just organised. So, I mean, it would be good to know if people could comment like what sort of level you're at now and where you're trying to get to, so I can maybe answer some questions on it about it, making it a bit clearer. but I know from a lot of you, if you're a tradesman on your own, £1,000,000 sounds like a fucking lot of money. But equally, I think the people that are slightly more ahead and you're doing a few $100,000, you can sort of quickly work out and go, do you know what, £1,000,000's not, it's not unattainable, it's not a mile away, but you probably certainly know that you need to brush up and sharpen your pencil on what you're actually doing in terms of running a business, because you only need to get caught out once. And I think this is the thing with construction. You only need to be not paid by someone once. You only need something to go wrong on a job because you've underestimated it, which happens a lot. A lot of people take on jobs and not priced it right, and it can put you under. So it just gets, the risk factor gets greater if you don't fully know what you're doing in terms of the business side and making money. But you just need to do these numbers for yourself. It's not difficult. You can do this on a bit of paper and a calculator. You don't need a spreadsheet to do this. You literally need to work out, right, how many jobs do I need to hit 80 grand a month in revenue, times that by 3, and that's how much work you're roughly going to have to price. And if your conversion rate's better than that, great. And this is what I'll say on conversion rates, is that if you win every job you price, you're probably too cheap. You're probably undercutting yourself. Whereas if you're not winning that much work and you're pricing a lot, maybe something's wrong with your pricing, maybe you're expensive, maybe you're missing stuff. And this is why when you track that conversion rate figure, it's the only way you're going to know that. So as soon as a quote goes in, you need to be tracking, right, have you won it? Have you lost it? Where are you at with it? And be properly on the ball with all your numbers. It's just something that you can't ignore. You have to be on the ball with that. So let's see what we've got on. Hope this has been useful, guys. Anyway, as we're going through stuff. Because equally, once you know your conversion rates, you know how many leads you need to generate a month. And again, you don't need hundreds and hundreds of leads in this industry. Even just 10 grand jobs, a 10 grand total package, 8 jobs a month. It's not, you don't need shitloads of leads and inquiry. You don't need massive elaborate stuff. And you really just need a decent setup of a decent website, a bit of SEO, maybe a bit of a marketing plan, depending on what clientele you've got. But you literally just turn the tap on at the front end. And I think this is where people go wrong, is that everything stems down from leads and inquiries to tenders and quotes. Doing the work is actually not where you make your money. You make your money and you make £1 million a year business by doing fucking great tenders and quotes and estimates, being really good with the customers, and then it filters down into jobs. Whereas what a lot of people tend to do, and I know this because I spoke to a lot of you, is that you're looking and just thinking purely about the jobs and looking down at the jobs, but you need to be looking more up here as a top view, that the money is made when you price work and customers say yes. That's actually when you make your money. The job, the delivery bit is just it's part of the process. So you can put your invoice at the end of it, but you've made the money for the business at the minute that customer says yes. And that's why, most of you're not focused on that bit. You're focused purely on, oh, fucking hell, I've got to get this job done. I've got to get this done. You're putting customers off because you're busy. You're not set up right. You need to be focusing more at the top and being really zoned in on that of getting quotes back as quick as you can. And I'll tell you one thing that's really fucking annoying is people that get quotes or customers have asked to get a quote done. And it's like, yeah, I'll do it in 2 weeks, do it in 3 weeks. And you take longer and you're taking the piss. And it's like, what's that saying to your clients? That's not saying that you want to work with them and get the job. You just look and sound like an average builder, like most of the industry is. And I'll be honest, another thing is like it's so easy to get ahead in this industry because most of it's shit. Most of it is slapdash. Most of it is full of people that don't know what they're doing. Most of it is people that are doing quotes late at night, missing stuff, fudging it, fucking around, not really running it like a business. And I think if any of you have listened to like the podcast or anything of stuff and what I say, but construction is just underestimated massively. Like it's such a good vehicle to be in. You can make great money and you can get the revenue as well, because so when you talk about margin, when you're saying like, okay, say you can earn an average of 20% margin in construction, but you can do that on bigger lumps of money. Whereas like retail, for example, you can, retail companies will mark up a pair of pants or something 100%. You know, the margin is a lot bigger on that, but you've got to sell a fucking lot of them to make any actual money. Whereas, like I say, construction, you can win a 10 grand job, a 20 grand job, and you've got 5 grand profit in that 20 grand job, and you can be banging out loads of them, and you can actually rack up quite quickly. And people don't understand this about the industry, that it can fucking pay you a lot of money. It might pay you a lot of money. You can have really decent money out of this business. But the gap is the business side and knowing your numbers and all the guts of the business, basically. So what I've done, guys, there is a podcast going out tomorrow morning all about KPIs and numbers, right? So it's a bit more detailed. Obviously, I'm live. I can't really show you too much stuff. It's quite an awkward screen. But there is a podcast going out tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, all about KPIs and numbers and what numbers you need to be tracking in your business. It's there, it's totally free, it's stuff that you can learn from, you can pop it on and take note as you listen to it. It's going to explain to you, right, what numbers do you need to know in your business. And I think this time of year is a really good time of year because we're nearly over this year, you know, and we start looking at next year, and it is going to be a little bit tougher next year. The industry is going to have some impacts on it. First and foremost being interest rates and the amount of mortgages going to be renewed next year. One of the problems we're going to see in the industry is that there's millions and millions of mortgages due next year for renewal. People that were fixed on 5 years or 2 years when it was good times, low interest rates, and all of those people have got to renew their mortgages. So a lot of them are going to be paying a shit ton more on their mortgage fees, but that might mean they're going to be downsizing, still spending money on their house, but a different house. But there's still going to be a lot of people getting work done on their house. So there is going to be a bit of a dip next year, but what it's going to do is really hammer the people that don't know what they're doing. That's what it's going to affect. Whereas when you know what you're doing and you're good at what you're doing and you're confident and you're really good at your service and you know your fucking business, you know your numbers well, they're the people that are going to win, and they're always the people that do win in recessions. The people that get washed out in recessions and tougher times are the people that are the steady eddies, the people that do fudge it, guess, you know, do things whenever they feel like it and just winging it, basically. They're the people that get washed in recessions. You're going to get your bum bitten quite hard. So you've got to be on it. You've got to be super, super on it. So it's a really good time of year to get ahead from that and start thinking about next year of going, well, where are you now in terms of your revenue? Are you at a couple hundred grand a year? Are you at $500,000? Where are you on that scale, and where do you want to get to? And actually have some firm numbers on that, because a lot of people have got goals, and it's the easiest thing in the world to do and go, I want to be £1 million business. But I'm like, well, how the fuck are you going to do it then? What's the numbers? And if I ask you that and you don't know your numbers, you're not serious about it. So you should be able to say, I'm going to get to 1 million. I need to price this much work a month based on the average job size being this much, based on the conversion rates being like 30%. And that's how many leads we're going to need to actually make that happen. And you work all the way down that as a top of funnel to bottom of funnel, if you like, of winning jobs. And you know your numbers, you know what you're going after. If you can just do that one thing, then you're a massive step forward in actually making that happen. But yeah, that's really it. You know, I can go on for fucking hours and hours and hours about how to do every single bit, but tonight was just a bit of a jump on and just give you an overview, really. But you definitely want to listen to that podcast in the morning at 7, because it will go into more the numbers and how it really works and that. So if anyone's got any questions or stuff that they're not quite sure about what I've said, feel free to ask away, and I'll spend like 10-15 minutes on here and just answer some questions. But this will be pinned as well on my profile, so you can go back to it and rewatch it if there's bits you weren't sure about or there's bits you missed. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions, guys, or whatever you're trying to do, or the biggest headaches you've got in your business right now, or whatever. Really happy to help while I want to. Got a bit of time. Let's see what we got. How's business actually going for everyone? Is everyone doing all right at the minute? Ginger Mitch with a little wave. Right, Mitch, how you doing, mate? Fucking hell. Amir, what do you think about landscape business? Great business to be in, mate. You can make a lot of money in that. And that's the thing with it, they're all good. You can earn great money being an electrical business, a plumbing business, a tiling business, a flooring business. Doesn't matter, it's all the same shit, you know. I call it construction on here because that's what I know, and it's the same stuff. It's all the same principles. It's exactly the same. Doesn't matter what trade you do, it's all the same stuff. Yeah, so great business to be in, mate. You can earn really good money at that. I know some massive landscaping companies. Mate, fucking hell. I know a landscaping company that does over 100 million a year. Like, it's big business to be in. Bushy, will you be doing a video on working with architects and interior designers? I can do, mate. Yeah, some people ask about that. It's, a lot of architects and interior designers are a ball ache, I'll be honest. It is a good route of getting work, and if you get in with the right couple, you can earn really good money, and it's a good repeat customer. So you can really grow a decent business if you get in with a great one. You work together. It can be a great thing. So I'll think about that, mate. Let's have a look. Fucking hell, takes ages to scroll. Future build, busy enough, Dino. Booked up till September next year. Trying to expand it a bit more and get off the tools more. Mate, if you are booked up till September, I know for a fact you are limiting your own growth. If you're booked up that far on ahead, you need to be getting other people in to do the work and bring that deadline date for your customers forward. Without a doubt, you can double your business overnight by doing that, by getting the right people. As long as you price the work correctly, you can literally double the size of that business overnight because you've got such a long runway of work. This is really common as well. Loads of people do that and they wear it as a bit of a badge of honour, going, oh yeah, we're booked up till fucking 2030 fucking 4. Right, great, but if it's just you, and I'm not saying this is you, Future Bill, I'm just using it as an example, you are just stunting your own growth. You've got so much work backed up there. You need to be bringing people in to bring that gap down, one that's still manageable and you can build on, and you're literally invoicing double, triple the amount of work every month. You just got to deliver it in the right way. That's all it is. Hard to find good workers. Yeah, it is. It's the nature of the industry. It's something that's not going to get easier for the time being either, with the colliding factors of the market. But everyone's in the same boat, mate, and they are out there. The good people are out there. One, you've got to be willing to pay for the good, right people, which they cost you less in the long run once you find the right ones. But two, you've got to be a really good business owner and someone that people want to work for as well. I think people underestimate that. It's like, why should people actually work for you as well? Like, as a business owner, are you good to work for? I'm not saying you're not, I'm just using it as an example because that's a common thing, that to attract the best, you've got to be the best, and you've got to want people that want to work for you, not just as a transactional, well, this guy pays me an extra tenner, so I'm going to go and work for him now. You want people that are loyal to you, loyal to the brand, loyal to the core. But they are out there, mate. They are out there. You just got to keep finding them. And sometimes, unfortunately, in this industry, you've got to go through a bit of shit first. It's shit. Birchie, how do you stay motivated and avoid becoming complacent when you're extremely busy? Don't really rely on motivation, mate, to be honest. Yeah, it depends how big your goals are and what you want out of life, you know, what you're really going for. But I think this is part of what I'm saying, mate, knowing your numbers and knowing really where you want your business to be, because when you know exactly where you want it to be, you just get on with what needs to be done. You don't really think about whether you're motivated or not, and juggling it. You just make it happen. And I've certainly done them years, mate. You know, years back, it was the days of leaving the house at 6 a.m, coming back 8 o'clock at night some days, doing emails at the service station in the truck because you're travelling all over the country. doing fucking Zoom calls on the train because you've got to be on a conference call, but you're going to look at a job. You know, we were doing work all over the country, so it's just a fucking nightmare, mate. It's just an absolute fucking nightmare. But it's just hard work. It just is what it is, you know. It is what the industry is. It's everyone wants everything doing now. Everything's urgent. Lads are always a ball ache. Even good lads become a ball ache at certain stages. You have to go through that. It's just it is a tough industry to be in, mate. But if you're making the right money, then it's worth it. So that and I think that's the biggest thing that keeps you motivated. If you're seeing the bottom line growing, and you can actually see it come into fruition, and you can see a great team building, that's what buzzes you up. And that's certainly what buzzes me up, and that's what just keeps you going, really. Any other questions, guys, while I'm on? I'll do another 5 minutes and then I'll call it a night. But I hope that's been useful, guys, anyway, from what you've sort of got from that. I know it's not like massive. Like I said, I could do a whole fucking day on exactly what to do, like A to Z. But it's there's a lot to it. There is a lot to it. So yeah, any more questions, guys, and I'll do a couple more and then we'll go from there. But it's good to see a few of you. It's thing is, people forget it's social media. Do you know what I mean? It's like this is the best form of networking and getting to know people you can ever get in the world. You can talk to a lot of people at once, so it's a very handy tool for that. 100%. Cheers, mate. Cool. Great. Bailey Building. Any advice on generating leads? How many do you need? This is exactly what I've been saying in this. How many do you need? Let's see if we get an answer. Because again, this just goes into knowing your numbers. Because if you need 5 leads a month, or you need 50, you've got to be doing something completely different. You know, you've got to be doing a lot more versus 5. You can just go and speak to people and get 5 by just speaking to people and putting your name out there a bit. But if you need 50, you're going to have to invest in a lot more stuff and create a bigger flow. So it's first thing I always say to anyone asks me that question is, how many do you need? And then you start seeing and unpacking what you really got to do to get to where you want to get to. So by doing the numbers in this, like I say, if you know you need 5, it's just a case you need to meet new people and that. The best place I got leads from was joining the best gym. Joining the most expensive gym. It's full of people that got money, wearing your t-shirts, looking smart, and you know, just being in the right place for the right customers you want, and not in the shit places where shit customers are. It sounds simple, but golf course is another one. Full of people with money, really good clientele. You've got your van outside all the time, it's always clean, you're on the golf course, you're chatting to people. It's great. What do you say? Average around 5 to 8k per lead at the moment. So, what does that mean? Astrum. Is that old Tommy boy? How you doing, mate? Yeah, I don't know what you mean, Bailey, about 5 to 8k per lead. But yeah, 100%, you have to know how many leads you want, guys. If you know you need 10 jobs a month, and you know it is 30% conversion, you're going to need 30 leads for that month. You do something very different if you only need a few leads or whatever. You know, you've got to be very, very switched on to all the key numbers of the business. Said it at the very start. How many inquiries do you need? What's your conversion rate? What's your gross margins on all the jobs? How are you tracking all the job costs? What's all the KPIs around the jobs? And then what's actually your fixed cost and your net profit at the very bottom? You work all the way down from the very top all the way down to the very bottom, and that's a smart way to do it. But like I say, guys, the podcast going out tomorrow morning, jump on it. It's full of all the numbers that you need to know in your business. Sometimes, even if you know what you're doing, because I know a few of you on here that are already doing over £1 million, you're doing a couple of million quid. Sometimes it's good just to hear back and go, right, am I on the ball with all these numbers? Do I know them solid? You guys really, you want to get one thing from this, one thing alone. You have to wear the hat of being a businessman and not not just about the physical jobs and the doing of the jobs. It's fucking easier said than done. Well, it's easy to say that, should I say, because there's a lot going on in construction. When you've got jobs all over the place, you've got lads all over the place, lads giving you grief, lads giving you bollocks, customers giving you bollocks, changing design specs all the time. It's very easy to take your eye off the ball of the business, but at least once a week you want to sit down and review all them numbers and just know them like the back of your hands, and just have a great processing set for that. So you can go, right, what quotes have we done, what have we won, where are we at with conversion rates, where are we at with all the job costs and all the jobs, are all the jobs making the right money they should be from when you tendered them, where are you at with all your costs in terms of the whole company, so not cost of sale, and where are you actually going as a company doing a proper profit and loss every single month. That's where you really want to be. So look out for that podcast tomorrow, guys. I'll do literally a couple more questions if anyone's got any more. Yeah, good to hear from you, Tom. Good to see you, mate. It's been a long time. We'll have to catch up at some point, mate, actually. Bailey, you want 10 leads a month. To be honest, mate, you should be able to do that from just a decent 10 leads a month. You should be able to do that. You should be getting some decent referrals. Jobs always lead to better jobs. If you do a good job, customers always turn into customers. They speak to their mates, referrals. That's the biggest strength for this industry. I think that gets messed up in the whole marketing world of like what you need to do in that, but it's heavily reliant on referrals, this industry. Word of mouth, your brand, your name. And you're sort of in there straight away because you don't really have to tender against other people. If someone's recommended you and it's their mate or it's someone they know or a respected source, you get great work. So you should be generating like 3 or 4 leads a month just from referrals. And the rest, mate, decent website, really good SEO, you're found on Google, half a decent social media following, and you should be able to generate 10 quite simply and easy with that. But it's just spending the money to be able to do that and do it with the right person. That's what you want to be doing. South Coast Group, the podcast is available. There's a link in my bio. You can get it there, but it's on iTunes, it's on Spotify. It's called the Construction Entrepreneur Podcast, all about construction, the business, but also you as the owner as well, and everything you're going to need to actually grow and run a decent business as a business owner. So yeah, Construction Entrepreneur Podcast, you'll find that. But yeah, there is a link in my bio, all right? Cool. Yeah, Tom, I'll give you a shout, mate. I'll give you a message after this. Good. Right, I've got 1 minute, guys. Then we're going to go and eat an ice cream. So if you get one more question in, then I'm off. All right, cool. Leave it there. Nice one, guys. Hope it's been useful. Yeah, watch out for the podcast in the morning. You'll enjoy it. See you all later.